Welcome to the Dalen Show. How is everybody doing? People, I hope you're doing well. And I hope you're enjoying the show. I appreciate you guys for the support and love I've been receiving over the last few weeks. It's been phenomenal, and I just can't express my gratitude enough for it. I hope you guys are enjoying what you saw in the last episode with Donna Terrell and the edits that I got to put in the beginning and after shows, and even some of that audio quality as well. That took a lot of work and time, and I was just really happy to see it turned out the way it did. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. I know I missed last week. Just college life is kind of colleging right now. I know if you've been in college, you kind of understand that. So got a lot going on, rushing a lot, but I'm doing well, and I hope you are as well. But that's enough talking for me right now. So let's introduce our guest for this week, Miss Kayla Thompson. Woo!
Thank you.
Miss Thompson, I appreciate you so much for doing this and reaching back out to me. How are you doing right now? How's everything in your life going at this moment?
I'm very sleepy, but I'm here because I committed to doing this podcast, and we're gonna rock it.
Yes, ma'am. I understand that. If you don't mind, really quickly, I like for my guests to give viewers and listeners just like a quick introduction of themselves. So just like maybe where you're from, where you maybe went to school as well, just some things you've been able to do to help you get where you are today, so they can get a little quick feel of who you are before we get things going.
All right. Well, my name is Kayla Thompson. I'm from Brandon, Mississippi. I went to Northwest Rankin High School, Jacksonville State University, played soccer and ran track there. And now I work for WJTV. I used to work for WTVA, a news station also in Tupelo, Mississippi. So if you know me right now, you probably know that I work for WJTV 12 News. I do 3 shows on there every day. And so, yeah, that's usually, I hate bios. So that's about all I give normally.
I got you. Well, let's jump right into it. Mississippi girl, I'd say all over and forever. What was growing up in Brandon like for you? And also, you've gotten into the role now that I think you've become a household name. Where did your love for journalism come from? Where did that beginning even start from? Was it at a young age that you get into in a high school? Where did that love for journalism come into your life?
So I'm gonna answer the first question first. Brandon is fun. It's, upgraded since I was a kid. Really, I'm from Flowood. So Flowood, Brandon kind of meshed together. It depends on where you're from. My address says Brandon, but I went to Northwest Rankin, so it's all Flowood. But anyway, it was really cool. We had a lot of opportunities to express ourselves in high school and through different stages of school, just, elementary all the way up. So I've always been interested in entertaining people, and I knew that from an early age. But I didn't know that I necessarily wanted to be a journalist until truly high school a little bit introduced me. I knew I liked to entertain, so I knew I wanted to be on TV, but I really didn't get the itch for journalism or to decide that maybe this is the route to go until I got to college, and probably my sophomore year is when it made the most sense, and people encouraged me to do that and not actually write, which I thought I was going to do, but they said, hey, you have a personality for TV and a face for TV. You look good. You can do it. So that's what ended up happening.
I probably wasn't going to bring this up until later, but since you said that, and if people really aren't around the area that you work in, but if they follow you on social media, they know that you're always you, and you're always joking. You're always, a positive mood, always laughing. And I've always just been really appreciative of that. I always tell people that I love just people being you at all times. And I was a big fan of Stuart Scott. He was my idol, and he always did that, and he didn't care what anyone thought about it. When you first got into your role in TV and on camera, was that something that was easy for you to just be you at all times, or were there obstacles that you had to face, maybe from criticism from even peers or outside of that, for being you or doing you, or maybe you even had to kind of relax and to get into that conversation?
No, it was very hard. It's actually still a thing that I fight with today. Even at the level that I'm at, I've been in journalism for 6 years now, and it's still sometimes a lot of pushback on different things that are going on. But I mean, when you're not your own boss, that's kind of what happens. So I have I've had a journey. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but I will say that a lot of folks have always told me my personality was like top tier. It was gonna take me far, but a lot of folks also at the same time were like, "You're a natural girl. You know you got your own hair. You don't wear makeup. Like why? You got to put on makeup if you're gonna make it. You got to do this if you're gonna make it." And not that like it's not necessary, and not that those things don't matter. But I was more focused on the content and what type of journalist I was, and really taking it seriously and learning the ins and outs before I even said like, oh, okay, I have to have 110 pounds of makeup for me to be acceptable. And also my personality is not necessarily one that is typical in news in all different places, but the folks that I admire have a little bit of personality, meshed into their style. So I've always been excited to see that. And I knew that it was possible, but I knew it was going to take a little moment to get there. Now, the moment didn't get there until about a year and a half, 2 years into my career, because you're still working to figure out who you are, especially if you're starting out in the industry. And a lot of people's perceptions of what you look like and what you sound like, and you sound like a cartoon character, or your voice is too deep and this and that, and there's always something that somebody's going to find and say about you. And I had to deal with it, like many of other journalists who have gotten started have had to. And over the years, it's just been one of those things where folks are like, you know what, she's not really going to change. Like, I think I'm so used to seeing one thing that she's pushing me to try to see something different. And now that I've seen the different, I don't even want to go back to the old traditional way. That's what a lot of people usually tell me. But it has been quite a journey. It has been a lot of soul searching to be like, okay, do I need to tone it down? Do I need to be more calm and quiet and peaceful? Or do I come out here and act like, even if it's something on the side of the road that's happening, some event that you don't care about, that if I come with my excitement to at least make you think about caring about it, that's what makes a difference for a lot of folks. And that's really what the community tells me. And that's where I'm drawing that answer from, is like, there are things that a lot of folks normally don't care about or want to see, but they're like, you know what, you told me about it, so I feel I feel engaged in it. And I think that's the style that I've cultivated for myself.
I love that, and I'm gonna make a statement because it's funny because I do podcasting for a living. It's my love, my journey, but I really don't watch a lot of them. But I actually just recently, maybe 2 or 3 days ago, I was watching an interview with Charles Barkley, and he was talking about how during the weeks and during the season, they work from like 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And he was saying how a lot of people that are watching at midnight, do they really care about some boring basketball game a lot of times? And he was like, more than likely they don't. And that's why he always appreciated the guys that, their producers and directors for their show, just allowed them to be them at all times, because I think that brings out more of a true viewership in a good, entertainment, which is what we kind of do as well. So I love that you said that, because I think there are ways to go about different things, and sometimes it has to be the politically correct way. And that's not always the case. And so I love that you said that. I love that you're always not the politically correct way. You're you. And that sometimes, especially in this day and age, just is not accepted or loved. But at the end of the day, I think if we love ourselves, that's all that matters. So I thank you for saying that.
Well, when you think about it too, and I want to encourage you with this when you get started, really getting paid to do it professionally with some company, even if it's yours, shout out to you. But think about how difficult it is to keep up an appearance, right? So I can't present every single day like I'm super excited. Like I told you, I'm tired. This is just my normal personality. Even though I'm tired, you were like, yeah, she's excited to be on my podcast today. But you have to have some version of you that is not so, at the end of the day, you're depleted. You feel like you performed for people. I didn't like it. And I couldn't really deal with that every day, because if you're going to present one way, people expect you to be that way all the time. And even though I'm always happy, that doesn't mean I'm never angry. And I get angry at least twice a day, probably. But there are moments where I really don't even want to be bothered. But, people don't see it that way. And so I think if you give them a middle ground and you kind of let them know, like, I'm human too. Some days I just don't feel like being up here. And sometimes my face will very much tell you it's given, I don't want to be here. But at least I showed up. I'm passionate about my job. So you're still engaged in what's going on. And I think that makes a difference versus having to give all your energy to sit up there and look like nothing's wrong and something really is wrong, depending on what it is.
Yes, ma'am. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that. I want to backtrack a little bit. Family is really important to me. My mom has like been my biggest support on earth, and my grandparents, aunts, and uncles, they've always been there for me as well. What's your relationship like with your parents, siblings, surrounding family, even peers that you grew up with that aren't initially family? What have they meant to your life, and how have they been able to get you where you are today and allow you to just be you as well at all times outside of your career and what you do on TV as well?
Well, I am part of the Three Amigos. That's my parents and I's group chat because I was raised the only child. So the only people I hang out with all the time are my parents and my grandparents. I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of my grandparents still living. So I am always around the elders. I'm always around my parents. So I don't really stick with just like a large number of people my age. I have a small group that I deal with all the time. But most of the time you can catch me on somebody's porch sitting there chilling because that's family to me, like you said, is important. But really it's spending time with my older, folks in my family, the 50 and up. That's where I really, 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 really spend most of my time. But I do have aunts that have supported me and still support me. And they're like really sisters to me, in this time, especially since I've moved back home. But yeah, most of the time I'm just kind of laying low with my folks. And again, three little people that I hang out with every day. They're not little,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. Three people that I hang out with that are my age. I'm known by a lot of people, but I really don't hang out with a lot of people. I kind of like to still be alone because I'm a only child. I'm used to solitude. Like people like it's popular as you are. You go out to eat by yourself. I'm like, yes. And I like it most of the time. I'd rather be by myself. If I'm not by myself, I'm probably with my parents. If I'm not with my parents, I'm probably with my grandparents. If not with my grandparents, I'm probably with my friends. That's kind of how it goes.
Can I ask you, because I just related so much to what you just said? I'm an only child as well, and I grew up around grandparents, aunts, and uncles a lot older than me. And I always got the gauge, especially from like teachers in junior high, high school, that I was always a lot more mature than people my age. Did you ever get that growing up, that you were always just more mature? And if so, did you think that's because of, who you were around a lot growing up and even now as well?
Yeah, a lot of people call me a 65-year-old grandma because that's how I act. My vibe is just never, I gotta go out. I do enjoy going out and doing things that 20 somethings do, but most of the time I'm probably looking upside folks' head like, Lord, y'all make life so hard. And we don't have to do this, let's just come back to the old school. I listen to 80s and 70s music most of the time with some jazz when I need to calm down.
Mhm.
I'm one of those people. I love all things old. Most of the time, if you really watch my work, you see them always chasing after giving opportunities to give legends their flowers, and they're usually from the 70s and 80s era of music because that's the bulk of me. If you want to know who I am, watch Three's Company and you'll understand. And then watch Living Single, you'll understand. And that's really just what I'm made up of.
My mom will love that. I love that so much. Um, Talk about your sporting journey in high school. I know you played soccer and you ran track as well, and you also did that at JSU, which you can talk about if you want to a little bit, but I'll get into that as well. Did you all were you kind of forced into sports, or was that just something that you kind of fell in love with? And I say that because I know some people were forced into things by parents, and maybe because of a sporting background. That's why I want to ask. But what was your sports background like? When did you start playing those sports? And how did your love continue to go through it with college as well?
So I started playing soccer first, and I believe I was 3 years old when I started playing soccer. I'm a busybody. You could probably tell that now. I'm always doing a lot of things. I'm a multitasker. And so my mom was like, okay, she's moving a lot. We got to put her in something. And she wanted to always do something that was different and not just, keep me in the same old paths that a lot of folks have walked. And there's nothing wrong with the paths that people walk, but she was just like, let's try soccer. Let's try something different. And down through the years, I should say, it yielded some awesome opportunities for me. It sent me overseas to Spain to play, and I've been with all over the place with track and stuff. And so it was really cool, but it wasn't anything I was necessarily forced to do. But
Mm-hmm.
she is the one who said, well, her and my dad were like, yeah, let's try soccer. Let's see what it is. And if she enjoys it, it's cool. And I never really stopped. And I'm glad I actually had soccer and track to be a part of my story because it taught me discipline pretty much early on. Not just, the discipline you get from your parents, but like my dad would go in the backyard with me all the time and be like, all right, we're doing drills and this is what we're going to do. And we're going to focus. And if you mess it up, we're going to try again. And so that stuff is ingrained in me. If you have a bad show, like try again. Tomorrow it's going to be better. Because why? Because we're going to practice. We're going to look over it. We're going to figure out what went wrong. How can we fix it? My mom is also like that. My mom didn't go in the backyard with us, but she would run. When I started doing track and stuff, is more when she got into the running space. And so it's always been them supporting and really, really, really supporting sports, because I think they were like, yeah, she kind of good. You know what I mean? She's doing great. And so they encouraged me on my journey to try and go to college and play ball. And everybody else always around us was saying like, hey, you got talent, like you're fast, you can do it, you're skilled, you can really make something out of it. So by the time we started getting lots of different offers, it wasn't so much like I didn't expect it to happen. It was just like, okay, which one is coming today? Because we have a stack that is somewhere in my apartment of offers that we got. And every time we got an offer, it was like a win for all of us. So I ended up going to school at Jacksonville State for free. And that's one of the best blessings I've had.
I want to ask you about that. I'm glad you kind of just transitioned into it for me. What was the process of choosing JSU for you? Was it your first option? Did you look at a lot of other schools? What was your process for choosing JSU? And also, did sports have an impact at all on you choosing where you went to college, or did it not have any impact on you?
I think it was most impactful because I was going for the scholarship. I actually was not intending to go to Jacksonville State at first. I was supposed to be going to Mississippi State. In ninth grade, I verbally committed, and some things happened in the time that I got to 11th grade that the verbal commitment wasn't held up anymore. Coach changed, so different things. It's just nothing bad. I mean, it's just normal things that happen. In 2 years, I'm in the ninth grade. I'm not really being honored like you are. When it's serious, is junior and senior year. So by that time, I knew where I was going junior year. And we went on a trip, and my parents were like, let's just try Jacksonville State because, you can go to different places and visit. And so that was when we went to. I really enjoyed it. I liked the mountains. I liked just the vibe. It felt comfortable. It wasn't too big. And so, yeah, it was the option. I mean, it really ended up being like, hey, you're going to school for free. Let's do this. But there were other places I was really, really interested in and that I had great opportunities and offers from. But that one to me just made the most sense. It felt like that was where God wanted me to be. And in the end, it really was where he wanted me to be.
Was the transition from high school to college hard for you? If not, what made it easy? And if so, what did you kind of do to help make it a little bit more comfortable for you?
The transition, if I can remember correctly, was not as hard because when you're playing sports, you go a little bit earlier, so it's not as overwhelming, and you're not trying to figure out who all these people are. You're figuring out your team. So at that time, I was only figuring out my soccer team. So I mean, there's like 15 girls in front of us, and we're like, okay, I kind of like you, and we room together, so let's hang. And it wasn't as overwhelming, I think, as it normally is, just because of that reason. Going early made a difference, and finding folks on the team that you kind of just mixed well with. It was different. We had a lot of, and our coaches really did a great job of making sure that we did team bonding and found our tribe within the team. Not so much like separating ourselves, but just find who is your person, and is that person the person you room with? Cool. But like, who else will you hang with? Because you kind of have to figure that out early. And I'm glad because it gave me 4 of the best, really 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12 best friends, that I still talk to today that were on my team way back then. And they're, scattered all across the country and really all over the world at this point. But having them do that really did make a difference. And I would say if it didn't happen, it would have been more awkward because the time that I finally got on my track team, a lot of those girls had already established their relationships. So it was like, who's this girl? And I'm like, who are y'all? And people have been on campus with each other for a good, couple months by this point. So that part felt strange. And that probably would have been more of how it felt coming straight into school if I hadn't played sports. But it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's a piece of advice that you would give to, I'll take this myself as well, for college students that are maybe are in the midst of trying to figure out what they do or know what they want to do, and they're trying to figure out ways to succeed at it, what is a piece of advice you would give to young adults coming into the world of work, which is now kind of overtaking a lot of, I think, our younger lives? But what advice would you give to us?
Figure out what 2 or 3 things you want to do if you don't know exactly what your one thing is you want to do, and consistently work at those things. So, if you say, "Oh, I want to be a doctor," okay, well, let's start doing little electives that lead you in that direction and see it's really something you want to do. Ask if you can shadow at these places where it's like a sports medicine facility or a hospital, even if you're shooting that high, and see, is this really what I want to do? I think job shadowing is necessary, even though sometimes you're not going to see exactly what it's like on the one day you come in a few hours. It'll still give you an idea, because I've had a girl that came and shadowed me, and she was like, "No, I don't think this is what I want to do." She was like, "I love TV and I love how it looks, and y'all are amazing, and y'all make it look so easy and so much going on." But like, no, she was like, "It's just the pace and like deadlines. I don't like it. So it's not really something that I think I would be comfortable in doing and not have anxiety every day." Secondly, I would tell you guys to learn everything. If you have your one thing that you want to do right now, you need to start reaching out to folks. And I know it's so hard to reach out to journalists sometimes because we got a million things going on. But reach out to us and see, like, hey, what are 3 things that you think I should work on? And if you're talking to me, I always tell people, 1, do you know how to edit? 2, do you know how to write? 3, do you know how to get people to talk to you about anything? Because when you get in the field, we don't have time to try and teach you how to get, an interview. And you're like, "Oh, what do I do? How do I?" Like, no, you need to be a hustler. You need to be a sweet talker by the time you come to news, because it really makes everything easier. Editing, you don't have, we don't have 2-3 hours like people think we do, or like really days to put a story together. These days, you have to put a story together maybe in an hour and a half. Maybe you might have less time than that. So you need to be able to edit. You need to be able to move. And it doesn't need to be like 3 or 5 takes of you trying to record something. Let's get going. Do you know what you're doing? And if you already know how to write, then you're not overwhelmed when you get in a situation where it's like, okay, I have 30 minutes to air. I have to edit. I have to write my script, send it back, get it approved, and keep going. A lot of people aren't able to do it. And it's really not a skill that you want to try and learn. If you really, really, really want to just be calm in news, you don't want to learn that when you're 3 years in, or 2 years in, or 1 year. Like, you want to get that quickly. So if you come in with the skills, then your news directors and management staff are like, "Oh, okay, this person bad. I can trust them with anything." And that's what you want. You want to build that trust. So that's a long answer, but that's what it is.
Oh, I appreciate it. Because those are things that I feel like are basic, but a lot of people forget the basic fundamentals, which is how you can really be successful. And so I take a lot of things that, even, I speak with people that aren't journalists. I take a lot of them and try to use in my life, but I specifically take things from people like you and try to invest in them a lot more. So I thank you for that. I want to say I'm a big music lover. I listen to a lot of different music types, and I wanted to ask you this a minute ago, but I didn't get to it. And since you brought it to 70s, 80s, what are some of your music artists that you love, your favorite music songs as well? And I also like to ask people this too. Did you have anything that you specifically listened to when you were playing, before a game or before a meet? Did you played anything to make sure you were like getting ready for that and getting it ready for that moment as well?
So it's gonna be funny. A lot of people don't believe I listen to trap music, but I do. I like, and the thing is, I treat news as a game, like a newscast. Before we come on, we don't want us to be stiff and just sitting up there. Especially, I work early in the morning, so I gotta wake myself up. So I come into work listening to gospel music and getting myself centered and giving them thanks. But then by the time I hit that door and I sit down at my desk and I'm reading over my scripts, it's some real bad words, like it's some real hype songs playing in my ears. Or usually, if I'm just driving in my car, I'm probably listening to a little Patrice Rushen, a little.
Okay.
It's a good 70s, 80s mix. If I sat here and told you everybody, it would be like, "Lord, Jesus, girl, fix the list, come on." But I do have a playlist that I have already sent to a couple people to kind of let them know what I listen to. But I always say, if I'm really, really chilling, really trying to like get myself together, I'm probably listening to a Tribe Called Quest, more than likely, or Busta Rhymes. It's in between there.
Okay. I see. I don't know if you ever seen like some of the they do like playlists for like athletes and some celebrities, and they put them out on like Spotify and Apple Music. We got to get that in the works for you. Then we got to
I
see
got like
what
three
you listen
different
to.
ones. I'm gonna have to compress it because you listen and
Okay.
be like, wait, are we thanking God? And then we going to the trap house, and then we going to the disco. Where are we going? That's how my whole thing goes.
I got you. Um, During your time, kind of in college and getting ready to graduate, did you see yourself being where you were now? And what was your process in figuring out where you were going to go after you graduated college?
Not at all. I think sometimes I have to really sit in that feeling that, girl, you have gone a long, long, long way from Jacksonville State University. You've come a long way from Northwest Rankin, and I am grateful for the path, but this path has been like mountains, hills, this and no smooth path. It gets smooth sometimes, and everybody's always like, "You're always getting awards and stuff," but it's like y'all don't see what's going on behind the scenes and like the things that I'm like, I want to quit today. Today is my last day. Yeah, I'm done. So, no, I did not see where I would be right now, and this is gonna be my 6th year in news on June 1st. So it has been, yeah. I didn't see myself I guess as a champion yet of the
Mhm.
community, but so many people have been saying that to me lately, and I always, give them a face, but they're like, you really are like the people's champ. Like you are doing so many things to help so many people, and sometimes you don't even sit to realize it. I think it's because it gets overwhelming, because you have some people who just expect you to put them on TV for whatever, a family reunion, somebody cousin just got married, and they're like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
new, and why didn't you show it? So it's like some stuff doesn't work like that. But back to the question, I did not see it. Preparing for work after college was very strange, because I realized that was the first time, number one, I had ever worked a job, because my parents took care of everything for me. I'm grateful for that I didn't have to work in college. They said, hey, you handle your scholarship and make sure you play and get your grades, and then we'll worry about sending you money and things like that. So no, you cannot work. And I wanted to work so many times. They said no. So this was my first ever job in Tupelo in news, and so I was learning how to deal with people. I was learning the difference between sport and really, like, the sport world and the working world are similar, but you can't fight, in the working world, because you get fired. In the sports world, if you and me have a problem, we're gonna take it outside. We're gonna do a little 1v1, and then it is what it is when we're done. Or we're gonna have a race. You said what you said, I said what I said, we're moving on. You don't do that at work. Work, it just lingers and it sits, and it's just an environment. So you and this person, you
Yeah.
probably didn't talk about the differences. So now y'all really can't stand each other. You just got to make it work every day. So I was not ready for that. And that still happens today. It's one of those things where the levels of life just they kind of keep going. You know what I mean? And certain things you keep saying over and over again. Sometimes they say it's not until you learn the lesson that you stop learning and stop seeing. But sometimes some things are just the same no matter where you go. But I also didn't realize that a tornado for one of my friends. So yeah, a tornado on campus my senior year, and we didn't know if we were going to have a graduation ceremony. That is actually how I got into news, because I did a story on her, and it was simple, but she let me do a story on her. I put it on my reel, and people were like, okay, I see the basis here. It's not perfect, but it's cool. And you realize how to make this story and talk about something that is detrimental to somebody else, but still be sensitive to it. And I think we can work with that. And so that news director helped me. His name is Mike. And ever since then, it kind of took off. So no, I didn't expect any of that. I didn't expect a tornado. I didn't expect my friend to lose her apartment. I didn't expect me to be where I am today. I didn't expect any of it. So it is honestly God's plan.
I am very just in awe that that process and that journey has allowed you to get where you are today. And I'm glad you kind of talked about it a little bit. I wanted to ask you your first job in Tupelo. You said how you got it, but what was it like for you? Was it a smooth transition? What was like your growing pains with some of your peers maybe at your new job? And also, were there times where you thought you maybe wanted to do something else And did you see yourself maybe doing something else? But how did you continue to stick with it where you were?
So no, I never thought I wanted to do something else until now. And now I've been talking to one of my friends in the industry, really one of my closest friends in the industry, and she's also like, I think I'm at a quarter life crisis. I don't know if I want to keep doing this hustle and bustle and like the fight for every day. But I mean, it's one of those things where news, you have to realize what you're doing it for. You know what I mean? Because every day is different and every day is sometimes difficult for a long period of time, depending. I mean, I had a strong 2 months where I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go. I don't want to talk to these people. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to help nobody. I don't want to do anything because it just felt like it was always something. You know what I mean? Something negative. So I got to that point. But I think realizing also that when you're in news is really a servant's job in a sense, because when you're helping people, that's when you feel your best, right? So I had a lady that I helped get her roof fixed when a tornado, unfortunately, messed up her house. I helped her get a roof fixed just by doing a story. Those things, those are like batteries in your back. You know what I mean? And so it's more about who can I help and how can I help these people, and going to schools and seeing these kids and they're like, girl, yeah, you be on morning anchor. I watch you every morning with my mama. Batteries in the back. It helps you keep going. And thinking about just how difficult the path is. It's difficult for a reason, and unfortunately, that is true. Because if it wasn't hard, you ain't going nowhere. But if you're pushing, and I know what my end goal is, I can't tell you. Don't ask me. But it's gonna be difficult, and there are some things I have to address and finally learn these lessons now. So it just is difficult. Now, I want to make sure I say that because a lot of folks, when I talk to them, they're like, "Oh, news is so easy. Y'all have fun. Y'all just read what it say." It's never that. It's never
Yeah.
that. Never. I want you to know that it's so fun. And if you really are passionate about what you're doing, you'll still have fun in the midst of all the madness. But it's not easy
Mhm.
at all. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I'm just telling you.
I love that because I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you that, but I'm not going to. But I think so many people get caught up of, and we talked about this earlier, just the personify of who you are, just the positivity and the energy that you always release. But even when you're smiling, sometimes it's not going to always be a happy cloud over you. And so I appreciate your honesty for saying that, because I think a lot of people, and that's what I do this for, that a lot of people, kind of get a background feeling of the people that they see on social media and on TV. And so that's interesting. I love that you got to share that with me. Outside of what you do, what are some of your hobbies that you do, that you kind of spend your free time on, things that you love to do outside of your career? What are things that you do to help make you at all times?
Sleep. Number one. Really, these days it is like the only thing I do is sleep. That keeps me regulated. It keeps me on track with everything. Let me tell you something. If something is difficult or I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna have a nap. I'm gonna take one, and everything's gonna be
Yeah.
fine after that nap. Because I'll edit through the night. It's okay, but I'm gonna take a nap, and I'm feel better after I take that nap. I don't know why my parents have always allowed me to take a nap when I was a kid too. Now that I think about it, like even through high school, I'm gonna lay down, and I'm still laying down today, and that's half the reason why I'm able to make it day to day. Because if I don't lay down, no, I tried it for like 2 weeks. It was terrible. I was angry. I was irritable. People was just annoying. And that's the thing. I won't go back to the other question. I'm not saying that news is hard because news is just hard. I'm saying that for anybody who's interested in doing any type of entertainment, television, just any job in general, we always say the people are the best part of the job and the people are the worst part of the job. You take that as you will, but people change. People are different. People have different opinions. People don't think like you think. People don't say what you say. People don't realize, that you and I might have a little phrase where I say something like stop capping, you act stupid or whatever, and somebody else gets offended by that. So you, you just never know. And I think that's the thing. So people make it great and people make it rough. And that's that.
Um, I want to get into where you are today. I believe you've made a name for yourself in the last couple of years, and I would love to know if you can, this may just be like an overview of the thing, but what's like a day-to-day schedule for you? So like what's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday like for you? When do you record? When do you get stories? When do you edit? When do you, reach out to people? When do you have meetings? Can you like give us like a day-to-day of your work schedule?
Okay, I can try because no day is the same. So
Mhm.
I'll do this week in general. Today is the only day I have a moment to just not do anything and I don't have to edit anything. So Monday, we had the show. So I do the morning news from, well, you want me to wake up. Okay, so I wake up at 4 o'clock. And then when I wake up, I have a few minutes to get ready. I got to be out the door by 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, I get in the car. I am at the studio by 5:30. 5:30, I'm looking over scripts. 6 o'clock, I get on the set. By 6 to 7, I'm doing the full newscast like you would see every single day.
Mhm.
Nothing changes. And then you'll see me from 7 to 9 o'clock doing cut-ins, which are like
Mhm.
4 minutes or so. So 7:27, no, 7:26, 7:57, 8:25. That's my last one because we used to have an 8:54. Now we have a 9 o'clock show. So I have a little break in between where I'm talking to guests, trying to figure out where they are. Do they need me to help them do anything? Can I greet them, make them feel more comfortable? Are they nervous before the interview? Do they know what they want to talk about? Did they not show up? What are we going to do next? So you got 30 minutes to try to figure out what's about to happen. The show is from 9 to 10, from 9 to 10 a.m. Everything is just going and moving. Today it was moving pretty fast. Um, we had a lot of our guests get stuck in traffic. You got a lot of time for that. You got to figure out what you're gonna do. How's it gonna move? So it was an adjustment, but we talking about Monday still. So 9 to 10 o'clock, do that. Left the studio at 11, no, left the studio at 10:30 to come home to do a Zoom call at 11 for an interview that is for Friday. 11:30, I had to get to a spa down the street to do a story on them. That'll be coming up next week. After that 11:30, we finished around 1 because we did a little talking and some extra stuff that was on us, and then I was finally done with the day. Yesterday, that was Monday. So today, same 4 o'clock wake up, uh 5 o'clock out the door, 5:30 at the studio, 6 o'clock on the set, 6 to 7 do the show, 7 to 9 do the cut-ins, 9 to 10 do another show, a full 1 hour show, and then now I'm talking to you actually. So yeah, today is my chill day. And after I get done talking to you, I'm gonna lay down for a little bit. I'm gonna go get my hair done. And when I get my hair done, I'll be done for the day. So it's a lot. It's a lot. It's
For
so
sure.
fun. Do you see why I need a nap?
Uh-huh. That is incredible for me. And you were talking about it, and I was like, that's like some Kobe, that's some like Kobe mama mentality stuff. 4 a.m. Like I just, but it also hit me kind of thinking as well that like this is what I want to get into. So this is what I got to start preparing for too. I get up early, but 4 a.m. is some adult work definitely. I don't think I'm that grown for that yet.
It
So
depends on your shift now. If you come in straight, you might, I'm saying straight out of school, you might end up on a, 9 to 6:30 shift. So that's not that bad. You need to get up by 7:30. And I say 7:30 because you really want to get yourself together. You never know about traffic. And I tell everybody, do what I do in the morning. You don't have to do like I do, but it works for me. When you wake up, put on something positive. I don't know if you are a believer. If you are, listen to a Christian podcast. If you're not, listen to something motivational to get you going, because while you feeling that vibe, I don't want to go to work today, just keep it going and to keep you moving, as you're going along with your day. Because if you don't, then guess what? You in your head, you like, man, I do not want to go to work. And how many more minutes of that before you get back in that bed and call out? Okay.
thank you. Like, that is probably going to hit a lot of people
Uh-huh.
where they don't want to be hit at, and it's hitting me just a little bit right now. But I appreciate you for saying that. This is what I love. This is why I love what I do. And I appreciate you for saying that for so many different reasons. But that just hit somebody other than me really hard in the jaw, and I hope you guys are taking it in the jaw strongly, but are going to use it really well. So I appreciate you for saying that. You probably won't say this, but I will for you. You've gained a lot of fame. I would say you have gotten not famous, but you've gotten to the point where like I said earlier, I believe you're a household name in my opinion.
Okay.
What is that like? And I say you have connections with people that I don't think the regular person, the regular journalist has. What has been? the outcome of your connections? What has been the learning experience with your connections as well? And also, can I ask, as a journalist, how important have connections been to help you get where you are and keep you where you are today?
Whew, okay, let me go backwards. Connections are very important in general, because even as you get into news, you want to make sure that you keep folks in your phone or on your, your Rolodex. I don't know if you know what that is, but in your contact list that you can, folks don't use that anymore, but I still do. Anyway, you want to keep folks, no matter what level you go to or what station you go to, because you just never know what kind of experts you might need or who they know and where they are. And it ended up working well for me being, in Jackson, coming from Tupelo, because sometimes even folks from Tupelo reach out to me and was like, hey, give me such and such number, or let me know what's going on with this, and I can do that. They can do that for me as well. So it's always good to keep the contacts, always good to build connections with folks and just talk to people in general. I just said that at a Black History program I went to the other day. Talk to people. You never know who is the person that might give you an opportunity or who is the person that actually needs you, but you never talk to them. And that one is for me too, because I've gotten kind of antisocial. But sometimes if you would just be open to talk, you never know what door that might open. Going back to the other question, I don't necessarily think that um I have more connections than people, uh than some, because there's some people, it's all subjective. There's some people that I know that are in the industry and I'm like, how you know them, like, and you look and you're like, golly, I wish I had that number. But the folks that I do have, and I think I know who you're talking about, uh they are, they're great people, and I
Mhm.
have been fortunate enough to be someone that they uh looked out for at different times. And yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't know how to answer it, because there are some people that I'm like, wow, like I never would have thought I would known you, um or would have known you, but it's kind of cool. And I don't think about it until my family's like, when's the last time you heard from so and so? You see, I'm not saying names. When's the last time you heard from so and so? And so I'm like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I just talked to, yeah, the other day. Or, I'm sitting in the car with my dad and another person will text me and they're like, really? They just text you and say, like, what's up? Like, this what we doing? And so it's cool. I mean, it's cool. I'm not gonna lie and say it isn't, but it's not something that I've ever had that I was like, oh, let me tell everybody in the world this and
Yeah.
that. Because I never wanted to make it um a user relationship on my part. I
Yeah.
genuinely want to learn from any person that is in my phone, any person that I've interviewed that is considered major to y'all, that I have talked to more than once. I'm trying to learn the game from them. I'm trying to see how I can help them as well when they come to Jackson. Is there an event? Is there anything? Because I think that's the thing too. We talk about connections. Be that person, be that bridge. You know what I mean? You want to have a concert here? Cool. I know who to call, because
Yeah.
you keep that network going and people don't forget you. And that's been a blessing for me.
I want to ask, because I've noticed this more recently with just within your work and what you know is on social media. Your passion to do community service and speak at events and be a part of the community and make people know that you care, that you have a heart for them. How important is that for you, and how important is it to give back and be able to know people that you're not just someone on TV. You're Kayla Thompson. You're people that you can bring a smile to their face. How important it is to have your face out there in a positive way, to kind of bring people together, bring the community together.
That's a multi-layered answer to that as well. I feel like I've been talking. I'm sorry. But
You good?
um
All of this.
I think that one, and I try to say this as much as possible, it is ridiculous to report on a community that you are not a part of. So I said, oh, they be shooting down here and do that. What can I do to make a difference? What can I do to figure out why they're shooting down here? Or who needs to be impacted? Where are the kids? What's going on? So I've done, a piece that I called Teen Talk, where we talked to some students about what was really going on. And it was the first time that I think a lot of people really heard from kids that, hey, my life, social media, my parents, all these things are overwhelming me. This is how I feel. This is why I'm acting out. And for the first time, a lot of people finally say, you know what, the kids do need help. Like, instead of saying they did it, no, it was like, wait, I can probably help in a sense. So I think that it's easy to just do your job and go home, and that's what a lot of people do and say they do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, we expect people to answer the phone when we call, and sometimes you got to kind of be visible. Not that I am as social as I was when I first came, let's make that clear, because I'm not. I sometimes I just don't want to be bothered, but other times when it's a chance to speak to schools, when it's a chance to go to somebody's, I get people saying all the time, come to my church, I just want you to sit on the front row at the church. Okay, sometimes I might just do that. Sometimes I might just pull up at your family reunion, so just because those people, these are the folks that watch you, and in the end they say they pay you, like, be there, because some people never get to see us. And that's the thing, a lot of times I realized there were very, very few Black anchors that we really, really got to see, touch, and feel in our communities. And sometimes it's okay to just be like, you know what, I got a lot going on, but I'm gonna make an appearance over here. I'm gonna do this and that. And I saw that in the legends that I, watched growing up. So I wanted to make sure that I did the same and kind of followed those footsteps.
People are probably guessing what I'm trying to do. You're saying a lot of stuff that is just relating to my heart, and I'm writing some of these things down, not only just because they're relating, but they're helping me be a better person. I guess you were talking. I have a hoodie that says "Be a good human," and it just correlated to what you were saying a lot. And I think that's so important because we get so caught up in I feel like a lot of different things, and it's always important to take care of ourselves. But I think what can we do, and I'm going to ask you this later on too, is a legacy, and that's something that I've always talked about for so long. What can we do to make sure we're being a good human? Honestly, we're making sure that people are taken care of and know they have someone they can rely on in the community. And so I appreciate that, and keep doing what you're doing too, because there are not, like you said, a lot of people that are willing to do that or are doing it, and I think that separates you from being just a journalist and being a really good human being. And so I appreciate you for doing that. And I'm sure other people in your community appreciate you too. They may not say it or a lot, or, express it a lot, but I'm sure they, if you put a smile on their face, that tells it all. So I appreciate you a lot for that. I want to ask you a fun question that I like to ask people. If you can have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Michael Jackson, Jesus. Oh, okay. I should do that. Hold on. Jesus, Michael Jackson. Don't come for me. Queen Latifah.
Okay.
I'm trying not to give you dead air. I'm sorry, but I'm thinking that's a good question. I like
most times people have to think for a little bit. Go ahead, take your time.
And I'm probably gonna have to explain why. See, I'm trying to get to that point.
If you can only do 3, you can just do 3 too, because sometimes I know people can't figure out 5.
No, because see, I'm gonna get mad when I get off, and I'm gonna be like, "Get why?" and say, "God, though." So yeah, those 3 for sure. And then who else has passed? Oh, Whitney. Wow, I knew it was coming. And there's somebody who recently passed that I wanted to add on there, because I just thought about this not too long ago. But let's just roll with them 4. Let's roll with Jesus, Michael Jackson, Queen Latifah, and Whitney Houston. And I think I found my 5th. That's why I was looking like that. I'm gonna give my 5th to Debbie Allen.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna let her share the seat. Oh, this gonna sound crazy. I'm gonna be in so much trouble. I'm gonna let her share the seat with Martin Luther King. Okay, that's it. I'm sold. I'm done. I'm gonna commit to it.
Okay. I like it. Together.
Okay, that's what we're gonna do.
I like it. I like it. I always say, like, when I ask that question, I always tell people that whether they're thinking about it or not, it kind of gives like a correlation to who you guys are and what your loves are, what your passions are, what your jokes are. And so I like it. I like it. It's a lot that I've never heard. The only one that I've ever heard was Michael Jackson. The other ones I've never heard before.
You have heard of Whitney Houston. Don't play.
No, 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 no. That's not what I mean. I'm saying I'm saying that
Oh.
I've never heard people say no. Absolutely not. No, no. Black
I'm about
community
to say,
don't.
Jesus.
People don't do
I
me
think
like
you
that.
do.
Yeah, no. I meant yeah. Let me rephrase myself. I meant I've never heard answers of Whitney, MLK, Debbie Allen, Jesus. I've only heard one person mention Michael Jackson, and they've mentioned a lot of different people. That's what I meant. So that was a different aspect that I've gone on. So that's what I meant. Yeah, yeah. Let me rephrase that. We praise the Lord over here every day. Don't get it twisted. I always like to wrap my episodes up with kind of two questions in one. And you kind of given a lot of advice. So you can maybe shorten this one if you want to. But one of my questions is, what's one piece of advice that you would give people watching and listening? It doesn't have to be about your career or anything. It could just be one thing that you've gone through life and you've been able to abstain that. And also kind of that we talked about what's your legacy that you want to leave behind when people hear the name Kayla Thompson. What do you always want them to remember about who you were and what you've done in your lifetime?
Okay. When I think about my legacy, I would hope that it is one of joy. I hope that when people hear my name, that even though a lot of folks is like, well, she just be smiling and but I want you to feel joy. I want you to feel like, you know what? That's my homegirl. If it was anybody on TV that I could sit down and have lunch with, that you just asked that question, I'm gonna put her on the list. I think just joy, because joy is not happiness, right? Joy is no matter what's going on around me, I feel good. Even though it sucks, a lot of stuff is unfortunate. A lot of things shouldn't be happening. I feel joy. I feel like it's something that can't be taken. And I think that I want them to feel that. I want them to feel that in my work. I want them to feel that when they see me, because I have a lot of people when I go out in the grocery store or whatever and they realize it's me, they just be smiling. I'm like, and sometimes I forget, girl, you're on TV every day. And they're like, girl, you just brighten my day. So I think joy, I want them to feel joy. I hope that is my legacy. I know, like I told you earlier, I am not always happy, but when I am, it's just, I want it to be infectious. I want it to be that no matter what happens when I leave the earth or when I leave WJTV, that people felt good and that they say she did the doggone thing. You know what I mean? She did it unlike anybody else. She went on her own path. She tried stuff. She failed. She was successful. She gave us so many different things. You never knew what she was going to do, but I felt joy every time I saw her on that screen. And so I think that is it. And any advice I would give somebody is to listen. We get in so much trouble because we're always wanting to talk. We always want to do this and we just don't listen. Sometimes, even in the workspace, if you just listen, keep your mouth closed. And my mama tells me this too. Keep your mouth closed and just listen. You'll find out so many different things. I have so many different people in my life that I've learned from just because I listened. This is why I sit with elders, because I just listen to the stories, to their advice, to the wisdom, to the way that they use their words, to the way that they don't even cuss sometimes, and the restraint and the storytelling style. If you just listen to people. I would really advise anybody in the next week, listen. Realize the cadence and the pace of people's voice. Listen to how they feel when they're talking about things that make them happy, things that make them sad. Because when you think about life, it's just simple. Listen. You'll figure out what's wrong with somebody by just listening. You'll know how you can make somebody's day better by just listening. You can make a difference in your community by just listening. What is the problem? Listen. That's it. Don't talk all the time. Learn. Listen. That's it.
Thank you. I love your advice. It's something that I tell people a lot because I'm an introverted heart. And so I don't just come into a room expressing my emotion, expressing who I am. And I listen a lot. I sit back and take in what I'm kind of examining. And so that's also something that's never been told before in my 4 years of doing this, is that piece of advice. So thank you for that. And I want to say your energy was infectious today, because I have probably had as many laughs, if not the most laughs I've had in 4 years of doing my show. So I appreciate you for so much for reaching back out to me, joining me today. And it means so much to me. And your story was really, really compelling and hilarious. And I think those two things can go together really well. But it was also authentic, because I think we get into this thing where we see people on TV and on social media, and we think they're not human a lot. I think I've said that maybe earlier, but I love doing this because it gives out the realistic view of who people are. And I enjoyed this a lot. So thank you, Miss Thompson. It means a lot to me. And I wish you the best in everything that you do. Whatever your end goal is, we'll keep it a secret, but we will be there to support your end goal and where you're doing right now as well. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it. And you had some really good questions. I'm going to be thinking about that for a minute. I'm not going to lie to you.
I appreciate it. If you don't mind, two things. Could you, if people want to follow you, reach out to you maybe on social media, could you share your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you have, real quick?
All right. Facebook is Kayla Thompson TV. Instagram is one Kayla THO. And then, yeah, that's the best way. And if you want to shadow, you want to come to the station, you want to learn, you need some help, my email, I'm going to let y'all do some homework. Find my email on our website. I actually do answer my email. So that's why I say do the research. But yeah, you can connect me those ways.
Cool. And also, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody at all?
Oh, my whole family, everybody attached on all sides. I'm grateful for every last one of them. The walk would not be as smooth without them. The stories that I cannot tell you, the things that I could not answer on the podcast, they know all about, and they listen to me, and I'm grateful, because some days I don't shut up about jobs and work and interviews and how angry I am and what's wrong and this and that. So I appreciate the folks that listen and that give advice to me and tell me it's really not that deep, but I'm grateful for every last one of them.
I love that. And again, I appreciate you so much. I had a lot of fun with this. And I think people watching and listening are going to have a lot of fun. I've been working a lot, and I think the work that I'm going to be able to put in with this is going to be really enjoyable for people. So thank you so much. Take care. As always, God bless to you.
All right. Thank you.
Take care, everyone. God bless. Much love, y'all. Thank you. Enjoy the episode. And also, one more thing, people. Check the description in these YouTube videos. You can check other listening platforms. You can also get some Dalen Show merch that we've just dropped recently. We got a link for that in the YouTube videos. There was even a link for it on the Donna Terrell episode. You can find that link in my Instagram bio as well. If you want to get a shirt, sweatshirt, anything like that, make sure you do that, repping it, showing it on social media, tag me. Love to show some love to you guys. But as always, thank you. God bless. Take care, everyone.